for those that have managed to get onto the Google Classroom and given some feedback. I think some of you have given some great websites, quite a few I've never seen before, so it's really nice for me. I learn a lot from it. Now, a few people haven't been able to get access using the Hub mail account. The only reason I can think for this is because the Google Classroom I've set up is not through a school. I've set it up as a private Google Classroom account. So if you're trying to access using a Hub account, it doesn't like the mix between the two. If you do want to join the Google Classroom I've got, please just send me a Gmail account. Set one up just for this. It just gets you in the loop, because the aim is that this Google Classroom we've got is going to continue. I'm not going to stop it at the end of these sessions. Hopefully, you know, there's 40, 50, 60 of you in this group now who will be able to share ideas as you progress, because that's what we want. We want this community of inquiry, community of learning. So thank you, Heather, brilliant. I really want to get this going, because like I said, some of the stuff that's shared so far has been superb. And I've actually stolen a few of them. And I think which one was it? There was one about the computer programming, and I've given it to a friend of mine. He's a teacher, and I said, oh, this website's great. It was shared by, very nice. So what I am going to do is I am going to ask if you could mute your microphones, if that's okay. Because for tonight's session, there is a chat room, which is just going to be in the corner. Now, what I'd like to do is nominate somebody. So I'm going to nominate Jay Harvey and her shed. Hello. You're going to be unmuted if that's okay, because you're in your quiet shed. So can you unmute if that's okay?
Okay.
Wonderful. You're going to be my voice of reason. So if I say something and you see it's in the chat room and I've not picked up on it, you shout abuse at me.
I'll get you a hot water bottle.
Okay.
Okay. And whoever needs a hot water bottle, make sure you get it. So what I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to start from absolute scratch again, and it's going to be a whistle-stop tour of setting up the classroom, setting an assignment, getting students to complete the assignment. We're going to look back at Jamboard, and then at the end, we're going to have a bit of a Q&A really. I'll help answer questions and any sort of ideas going forward, and then we'll discuss some of the shorter programs we've got running. So hopefully that's okay. Jay Harvey, voice of reason, is that okay?
That's good. Yeah, that's fine. Yep.
Fantastic. You're speaking for everybody. So let's,
okay.
let's get started. So I'm going to have two screens tonight. The first screen, which hopefully, Jay Harvey, you can see, has got black at the top, and I'm using Google Chrome for this. This is going to be our teacher's screen. So the black one at the top is going to be my teacher's screen. I also have my other student, and they're going to be using Mozilla Firefox. So now, Jay Harvey, nod, you can see a silver tab at the top. Wonderful.
Yep.
That's my student account. I'm going to start with my teacher's account. So here we go. I've got two groups going at the moment. I have the Wednesday gang and I have the Thursday crew. Don't worry, Wednesday gang's cooler because more of you have logged in than the Thursday crew. But what I want to do is, this is the view you're going to get. So I'm going to look at starting up a class from absolute scratch. Now, the easiest way to do this, slap bang, top right, create or join a class. And I'm just going to click create. Now, the options I have here, if I've been invited to join a class, this is what your students may have seen. They just click join a class. They'll then get a class code. I'll show you where that class code is in a minute. But we're going to create a class. So once I've created it, we get our class name. So I'm going to call this one Final Test Group. Section 2, again, you may have it set as a higher, intermediate, foundation level group. We'll call this one IT. The room, well, it's online. And we're going to click create. Again, what you write in those boxes is completely up to you. It's however you wish to organize it best for your class. Now, remember, you could have, say if you've got one class of 30 students, and you know that you've got 10 high performers in there, you've got 10 intermediate and 10 at foundation level, you can set 3 classrooms up for them. It makes it easier to differentiate the activities, but you can do that for them. So very quickly, that has created my classroom. It's created this. I can select the theme. I can upload a photo. So maybe I want to put a photo on there of my student group. So again, if I wish to upload a photo, I can put a photo from my computer, or I can select a theme for me. I'm not going to mess around with that. Now, I said earlier about joining a class. You can see here this class code. Now, if I left hand click on that, that code is specific to this class. So I can actually, I can do this a few ways.
Really, it's really accomplished. And the idea that he was doing it while he was very ill.
I'll find out who that is.
Yes,
So I can copy that code and I can send that to my students.
Benjamin, it's been wonderful to talk to you tonight, and we hope you get to the seaside at some point soon.
Let me just mute
I
everyone.
feel okay, because you did mention it's day 50 of lockdown. That is a really long time.
It's a long time. I keep myself very busy.
If I could just ask again, guys, if you could just mute your...
I do have a garden, so I can have a friend in to have a couple.
Thank you very much appreciated. So I can give that code now to one of my other students. So let's go to my teacher's screen here. This is my student screen. So if they go to Google Classroom, my student can join the class one of 2 ways. So once they log on here, they can hit that plus symbol, join a class, and they just type in that code that I've given to them. So I've given them this code, and they can hit join. The other way you can do it is you can invite the student to it. So let's go to my teacher's screen now. So that is, there we go. Thank you very much. I go to people. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to add that student to it. So I'm going to type in the email address. So that's their email address. Now I can add as many as I want at a time to this. So I have quite a few of these accounts. And then once I've done that, all I'm going to hit at the bottom is invite. And that's done. Now at the moment, that invitation is pending. That doesn't mean they're automatically in the class. So if I go to my student account now, here's my student account. So hopefully we can see the silver at the top. And then if I go to the email inbox, they will get an email from me saying they have been invited to this class. So what they're going to do now is they're just going to hit join. And hitting join, they go yes, they're very happy. They're going to join that classroom. So there's 2 ways that we can add our student to the room. And there we go. If I flick to my teacher's account, I can now see that learner who I've invited is in black font, showing that they are now part of the group and they're quite happy with being part of that room. I also have Janice there. Hello, Janice. Now, from this screen here, again, I can do a few things. I can email the student directly. I can select them and I can remove them. I can also mute them. So if they're being a bit of a pain on the live stream, I can actually mute that account so they can't add any more text to it. I think it's something that somebody else asked about if they're using inappropriate language and bits and pieces. Now, the streams thing, again, think of it very much like Facebook. I can type into here, you know, don't forget your PE kit tomorrow. I can send that to all of the students, but again, it also allows me the opportunity where I can go, okay, I'm going to send it to just specific students. So maybe there's 3 or 4 who are constantly forgetting their PE kit. I can send it to those 3 or 4. So I'm going to send this to all of the students, and I'm just going to post it. So again, you can use the classroom as just a simple tool to share with your group. Let's go back to our student account now. And here's our student, and they should be able to see once they have refreshed their screen, bish bash bosh, there they have their little message. Now the nice thing again with this is it allows for that communication between both you, the teacher, and the student. A positive of this as well is that it allows that parents that can see the different messages. Again, they can log on to this using iPads, Android, laptops, MacBooks, any phones, any device. And that student can actually then send a message back. Do I need rugby kits? Okay, and they can send that to the student, to the teacher. And again, it allows the teacher, if we go back, very quickly, they can then send a message back. And they can send a message back. So it allows for that ability to share discussions. Now, we've had a great few questions here. You can't pin a post to the top, which is a bit of a shame. You can move it to the top, but it doesn't pin there. So if you have a series of different messages, what I can do is I can hit these 3 dots here, and I can move it above a different one, but I can't move it individual bits at a time. It's only one full thing. So the easiest thing to probably do is just rewrite it in exactly what it is. So great couple of questions there. Thank you very much for that. So there's our simple use of it for just talking and discussing with our students and talking with them. Now let's look at setting it up for your classwork. If we just click on classwork here, we've got a few things that we can do straight away. I can go to create, and I can set a basic assignment. Now, if I put the title in here, we'll just put course assessment test 1. Type in your instructions. I always say, you know, you can copy and paste these in from the document, complete worksheet. Now, you can have it set as points or unmarked. So say you're going to set this out of 50 points. I can set a due date. Benefit again of putting it on a due date is that it automatically, each student will have their own calendar, which is part of their Google account. So if you've got homework that's got to be in 3 days' time, I can set a due date on there, and it means they'll get a reminder 3 days before, 2 days before, 1 day before. That'll be via their email account. It'll pop up on their classroom, and it actually sits on the side of their screen, which I'll show you in a minute. So it's a nice way just to keep them in the loop of when work's got to be, rather than keep pestering you. Now, what we can add to this is the rubric. And this is what I want to look at a little bit today, because I think I kind of went through it quite quickly. Now, the rubric, we're going to go for creating a rubric. Now, where I work, we have rubrics already for our classes. So I can actually copy and paste it in from an existing document. So if I already have an existing one, I can import it, but I've got to use Sheets, which is Google Excel version. But again, you can copy and paste that in. But if I create a rubric, I can have a scoring system of it. I can set how it goes up and down, but I'm going to do the criterion title. So let's say this is learning outcome 1. And the description is spelling on all written work. They can get a maximum amount of points out of that. Remembering we set it earlier for 50, so I might set this out of 10. And then level, this is going to be level title 1. And I can add a little bit more of a description about this. So this may come under our curriculum guidelines. It may come under spelling, punctuation, and grammar. And then I'll hit add criterion. And I can add another one then. So learning outcome 2. And we'll call this grammar. Again, I can add points for this. Level 2. And then I can add further information if needed. So that information can be for you, it can be for the tutor. There's a great question which I will answer very shortly. Now, once I've done this rubric, what it's done is it's added up how many points so far. So I'm going to have to change this because I set it to 50 points. There we go. And I've saved it. Now, someone asked a question, they said, can you set an assignment for 2 different classes? In fact, I can set it for as many classes as I have on my worksheet. So say, for example, I have 3 levels of English group, and this task I want to set for all 3 of them, but they're not in the same classroom. It doesn't make a difference. So here at the top, before I set it, I can pick either specific students within this classroom, or I can set it to go to other classes that I have. So my Thursday crew and my Wednesday gang, which is yourself. So I'm going to set this actually to you guys and to my Thursday group. Again, once I've set it for them, I can then hit assign. And that has now assigned this task to the students for them to complete. It's got the due date. I can still delete it. I can still edit it, and I can still go in. Now let's quickly look at what the student will see. So we'll go to our student screen, refresh it to allow them to see it, and they'll now have access to a couple of things, and it's quite interesting for us to follow. So firstly, they'll have down the side here, they'll have an upcoming schedule of things they need to remember. So they've got an assignment due. They'll also have access here on the waffle. Someone named it the waffle, I like that. They have Google Calendar. Now Google Calendar will log any assignment or any other piece of work, or if you set up Hangout meetings with them, they can add their own personal information. It will also include any assignments that need to be due. So those assignments will now be logged into their calendar to make them aware they have work that's to be handed in. So it's quite nice. The student, again, we're still in student view here. All they'll have to do is they'll click on the work. They'll be able to see the rubric that you've set and the expectations. So if they go, I'm not sure how I'm going to achieve top marks, well, you've got the rubric there. And all they're going to do then is they're going to add that work. Now they have the options here. Is there a way of hiding the assignment folders in our classroom? I'll have a look at that. They have the option here of class comments where they can add comments which everyone can see. So the class comments, I could say, hello, this is fun. And every student can now see that comment. So they could put something in there. So anyone know any good websites that we can use? Again, developing the learning away from us, the teachers, allowing them to facilitate it. They can also send a private comment. Now, a private comment, if they're having any particular difficulties, I am stuck, that comment is only seen by the tutor. It's a direct message to the tutor, which they get via email, and also it comes on the bottom of the assignment when they submit it. So you, the tutor, can see this private comment, but no one else can. So again, it's quite a nice way to develop a little bit of trust relationship you understand your learners and what's needed. Now let's go to how the student can deliver this. They're going to go to your work and they can upload it. So if they've created it on their computer, they can go to File. So let's go to one that they've just done. So let's see, there's a piece of work. They can submit that piece of work from last week. There we go. Let's upload a file. There we go. So they've uploaded this piece of work and they're going to ping it over to the teacher. And that's all they're going to do. Now at this point here, they can actually add as many as they want. So if there's 5 bits of work, if they're doing a portfolio, they can set 5 in. Now, one of the things I think someone's asked before is, could they submit one and then later on resubmit another one? Yeah, they can, but all they'd have to do is go unsubmit and then add the next one in. If you're doing portfolios, it's probably easier to set it as individual bits or get them to submit all in one big go with that. Let's have a look at some of the questions that come up so far. Yes, video of this will be available. I put it on the Google Classroom. If we look at the folders, I'll come to that in a second. They should be quite neat and set up anyway. Let's go to our teacher screen. So we'll go back to the teacher screen. I can see the class comment. That's gone to everybody. But again, you'll notice I can't see the private comments that's being sent to me, apart from here. So here on the left-hand side, I can see my learner. I can see they've sent me a private comment saying they're stuck. I can see who's done their work. Janice, haven't done your work, slacker. I can see who's handed in. I can see who's still yet to complete their work. And then as a tutor, I can click on the learner. I can look at what they've done. So on here on the marking scheme, I can see the work they've submitted. I can give them a mark. I can mark using the rubric. So let's give them 24. That then totals it up at the top. I can respond to their private comment and I can add individual comments if need be. Once happy with this, I can then return it to the student and that's returned. So it's a very nice, simple way of setting this up to share with our students. Again, now if we go to our student screen, we should see that work has been kind of shared. So I'll go back to the Firefox. Here is my learner's work. And they can see that they've had their work handed back with the grades from the tutor. And that's quite a nice way. There's a few questions coming through now, so let's have a quick look at these, see what we've got. Can you move the assignments up and down in the feed? No, they're date ordered. So it's all about chronological ordering of them, really. They created a postcard on Purple Mash. Can I link that piece of work to their assignment? Yes. If they've done a piece of work on a different tool, that work will have a share code. So let's pick for example here. So say, for example, they've done an assignment and it's not been done on a Google tool. Let's go to a Google account here. So say you've asked them to do a piece of work on Padlet, or they've decided to do it on Padlet or Coggle or Poplet or something like that. Here we go. So this is the work that they've created. Now those students will have a share code. They can share it and they can copy that link. Then when they go to the submission to submit this to the tutor, they can add a link. And all they've got to do then is paste that link. So if they do it on a different website, if they do it on Purple Mash or any other websites, they can send the link that way. And then all they do is hit resubmit. Fantastic. Let's go to our teacher's screen. There's my learner. I can see they've submitted 2 bits of work. Where's the other piece? There it is. And that will allow me to open up what they've done on a different screen. So, you know, it doesn't just have to be Google Slides or tools like that that they've created. It can be quite a few different things. So great question, thank you. If a child's completed the work, if they submitted it, it removes it from the up and coming work. And then all it will do is tell them what's left to do. So if I go back now to my student screen, it has a little message that says, woohoo, no work due soon. So it will tell them if they've done that for them. Any other questions at all with regards to that so far while I wet my whistle? No? It's really simple, Jules. We know what we're doing. Fantastic, good. Okay, well, let's step it up a level now. I want to look at some collaborative. Oh, how do I attach a PDF? Great question, Paul. So what I would do for this, if a student wants to send in a PDF, let's go to my learner. They're going to unsubmit their work and they're going to submit a PDF. All they're going to do here is go add or create, and they're going to go to file, and they're going to go select files from their device. So you've got recent, upload, my drive, and starred. So wherever they've saved it, so say for example, there's a PDF, and they're going to upload it. So again, it's nice and simple for them. They've uploaded that PDF, and they can then resubmit that. So they've got the 3 options there that they've submitted, and now the tutor, when we go back to the tutor screen, once they've refreshed it, they should see our learner 4 has gone overkill on the standard of work and has submitted in their PDF. There we go. So great question. Thank you for that. Really good. These are great questions. Please keep them coming. Does Google Classroom have a notification area? It has a notification in your email inbox. So if we go to my tutor's email inbox, there we go. You'll see that all the messages with regards to the Google Classroom. There we go. So there's my Google Classroom messages that have come up. So that's told me that they've submitted a piece of work. So there we go, learner 4's resubmitted an assignment. They've done this, they've done that, and so on. If we go to our student screen now, and we look at the email inbox, again, we'll go to their waffle. They've got email inbox, firstly telling them there's an announcement. They've got one telling them that they've got an assignment due, and they've got one that tells them that I have graded and sent back their work. So with regards to notifications, that is there. If a student hasn't submitted by the due date, will the assignment be removed from their list of tasks? No, it will just inform them that the assignment is late. It doesn't disappear, so that assignment will still be there. It will just be informed that it's late. They can still access it, but you will get a little message saying it was sent in at this time. How can you hide files from students but store them in the classroom? Hide files from students. Great question. Let's have a look at this. So you want to hide files from students but store them in the classroom. There's a few things I think you could be doing here. So for example, if I'm setting an assignment and I don't want them to do it yet, say I've written something that's going to be next week. Let's say it's I want to put some material up, not a question. I want to put some material. So read this journal article. I can set a schedule date. Now what that means is it doesn't go live until it's ready, or I can save it as a draft and post it at a later time. So I can kind of do that rather than hide it. So I say, for example, I'm going to upload I'll put a file on here. Pick a very basic. You can tell I got bored. I was playing with Zoom backgrounds the other day. So there, I'm going to share this picture of a shark with them. Upload this shark. Now again, what I can do then is I can either schedule it to go live at a certain time, or I can save it as a draft, and then at a later date, it will be, there it is, saved as a draft, and then I can actually click on it, edit the material, and set it to go live. So hopefully that is the kind of ways I want to do it. Students do get notifications when you put something up. If you've got assignments that you've already assigned and you want to hide them, so let's go to, so here's an assignment. What I can do is I can go back in, edit it. I'm not sure I could hide it. No, once you set it and it's gone, I think you're going to have to restart it. Is it possible to have live meetings with our pupil via Meets app? Yes, you can. You can have Meets app. If you want to have a Meets app with the students, again, it goes to the calendar. So what you would do is you go to your Google Apps, go to your calendar, and I can invite a learner, meet for discussion, and I can add that student in. So say Beth and I are going to have a discussion. Now I haven't got Meets because I'm not part of a school for this, but you'd have a little option there that says add conferencing, and you'd have Meets. So I've got Hangouts for this one. So I can set that, and that will then come up on their dashboard when I save it to the organizer that we're going to have a discussion based on that sort of thing. What's the difference between assignment and material? So Mark's just asked a good question. What's the difference between assignment and material? Let's have a look at quite a few of the different bits that we've got here. So material is if I want to share, say, just a journal article. So that may be just sending out a PDF and it's set there. So rather than put it in the stream, which we have on the main page, so I could put the PDF here. But if I use this and try and say, okay, I just want to use this for discussion pieces or PE kit and all this, under Classwork, I can go create, and then material, I can just put maybe a journal article, or I could put a link to a website that they may want to use. I can add a YouTube video, and it kind of takes it away. So that main first page is just for discussion, and material is more for sharing of useful information for them. Okay, let's have a look at some collaboration tools. Wet my whistle. I'm glad we got no rain. Now, one of the things I said I'd have a quick look at again is using Jamboard. I think a few people asked about Jamboard and what it is. Jan Butler, do you know what Jamboard is? You have, I'm not a lip reader, but something tells me that was, I haven't a clue. Yay, fantastic. So good. if we go to, let's look at the basics of Jamboard. I like Jamboard because it's basically an interactive version of Padlet. So this is our main screen. You can access it a few ways. So I just typed in the word Jamboard and it comes up. You can also, again, go to this little waffle at the top right, and I can scroll down. There it is, Jamboard. And I hit plus at the bottom right-hand corner there. Now, what you'll get given is a blank screen. Now, Jamboard, think of it as, you know, this was what's replaced now, flip chart paper. Now, flip chart paper is the bane of my life because it's blimmin' everywhere. The amount of times, how many people here, you can all kind of just nod and go, yes. How many of your offices are just jam-packed full of flip chart paper all over the place? I know mine was. So this here is, think of it as giant bit of flip chart paper. And what I can add on here is I can add post-it notes. So say, for example, I want to do a task where they are looking at, let's say, what is good classroom behavior? And I save it. And I put on it, what is poor behavior for the classroom? And I set this as a little task. There we go. I'm going to give it a background because I'm a funky teacher. There we go. And that's it. What you've created there is an hour's worth of a lesson. It's nice, isn't it? I'm going to click at the top where it says Untitled Jam. I'm going to call this Classroom Behavior. I'm going to hit OK. Key thing to remember, if we're looking to use this as a collaboration tool, where it says share, I'm going to hit share and I'm going to allow anyone who has the link. Okay? And they can edit it. So there's two key options there for remember us to do. Anyone with a link and they can edit. Otherwise, all they can do is they can see my screen. And I don't want that. So now I've got this for them. I'm going to close it down because it's auto-saved. It's a wonderful thing. Let's go to my classroom. We're going to go to setting an assignment and I'm going to go create. And I'm going to set this as an assignment for them. I'm going to call this good classroom behavior. Behavior. Wonderful. And I'm going to add, I'm going to go to Google Drive because that's where it's automatically saved. And I'm going to add my Jamboard. Again, the option here, students can edit the file. That means if I have it as students can edit the file, if I've got a class of 30 students, it means all 30 are working on the same document. That's a key thing for us to remember. So if I want all 30 students to share their ideas, which for this I do, I'll have it as edit the file. If I have it as make a copy for each student, it means when I share this to them, they'll all have their own little board and they're not collaborating. So let's have it as students can edit the file. I'm going to set this to all of the students in my classroom. I'm going to have no points for this one, no due date. And once I'm happy, I'm going to assign this to them. And that's now set. Let's go to our student. Go to the classroom. And once they refresh, they should be able to see this new project for them. There we go. Now, with this tool, they can then click on the work and they can add to the same board that I have created. And this is the nice thing about it. So the student can do a few things. They can add their own sticky notes. So I normally assign colors to the students so I kind of know who has written it. So if I say good classroom behavior is polite, there we go. Poor classroom behavior, so they've got this virtual board which they can play around, they can move, there we go, and they've stuck underneath. Now the great thing again with this is if you've got 30 students or even 20 students, or you get them in groups of 5 and 10, they can really play around and add different things, because the great thing with it again is it's not just adding post-it notes, they can add pictures from their computer, they can add web links, they can draw on it, so they can go, if they want to do thought showers, they can do collaboration that way. And then again, all they have to do once that's done is close it down, and it is done. And it makes it nice and simple for them to use. It's automatically shared, and they'll hit mark as done. We go back to our teacher screen. There we go, teacher screen, good classroom behavior. I can see one has handed in and they've completed that work that's been done. So it's quite nice for them. So I've got access. Let's have a look at a few of these questions that have come up. Okay. How is this better or worse or different than Padlet? So that's a great question. Padlet, I think, has got a lot more options in terms of, I think it's got 8 different formats which automatically are set up. With Jamboard, the benefit I find is it's really basic, and what I'll show in a second is that you can create nice simple templates and you can use it. The key thing with Jamboard is simplicity, and the fact it's already pre-linked with Google Classroom, so you don't have to copy URL links and bits and pieces. It's just simplicity. I don't have Jamboard as an option within my waffle. Just type Jamboard into your browser and it will be the first thing that pops up. Could you create 2 files, one to share and one to collaborate? Yes, of course you can. What you would do then, if you want to have one which you want to do that, you can play around with this. So I'm going to steal this. There's a few questions I'm going to play with on this one. So if I go to Classwork and I'm going to create an assignment, say I'm going to create that same Jamboard. There it is. I can have students can edit the file. And what I would do then is I would select who wants to be working in groups. Now you can set this as a few different projects for different groups for the students. Or I can have it as make a copy for each one. So if I want to have it as maybe a group of 5 and one person work on their own, the best way to do it would be make a copy for each student, and then maybe they could share it between themselves. So say, for example, here's my learner here. They've got their own individual one. They can actually hit share and they can invite their classmates this way. And that way they can get a group of 5 people to work together. Otherwise, you can just set it as separate assignments for them. It's the only way you could do it to have share and individual at the same time. Now, someone here said, how can you get student names in the Jamboard? Now, you can't actually, this is the thing, again, the negative, but it's the same negative with Padlet as well, is that you can't, it doesn't actually apply names to them when they stick on there, which can lead to some issues. What I would say to you is state it as a rule that they've got to put their name and then what they've put, or maybe assign colors to them. It is open up for potential risks there. I've had a few issues with Padlet this term, which I've had to iron out, but it's something we've got to put in place. So maybe run some sessions on good behavior, using IT sensibly and bits and pieces like that. Any other questions at all on collaboration tools? Once you've graded work, can you stop the pupils from resubmitting again? That's a great question. Let's have a look. So that's a good question there. So if they've submitted, can I stop them from resubmitting? Got to be able to, I'm pretty sure of it. You can't approve posts before they get posted, which is a bit of a pain on this one. So once the students put a post on there, it's there stopped. Now what you can't do is you can't stop them from resubmitting, which again, yeah, I agree is a little bit daft. But once they've submitted the work, it is time-stamped. It is dated as to when they handed in. So there we got handed in on the 29th of April. So that's the only thing there. But no, that's a really good question there, good issue. If I set an assignment to a class using a Google form, which is in a shared staff folder, do I need to share that form with all the students, or does assigning it automatically give them access? It will automatically give them access if I share it on my page. So if I share a piece of work on here, it will automatically give them access. So that's the same for Google Forms. Again, going back to Google Forms, there's a few things. If I set Classwork and I go to create, I can create a quiz assignment. Now with the quiz, it will create it for me here on Google Forms. Now that's okay, I don't mind it, but I personally think it's easier if we go to Google Forms straight away and play around with it, because then you've got it saved constantly in your forms, you don't have to keep going back. So if I just type in Google Forms, I can actually create one from scratch, which is then saved in my drive, and I can reload and use as many times as I want. The key thing to remember when we go to the blank, if I want to make it as a quiz, I go to settings, which is this cog, and I'm going to set it as a quiz. What that does is I've got two options with forms. I can have it as a questionnaire, or I can have it as a marked quiz question. We'll have a look at that question in a second. So once I've set it here, I hit save, and I can type in the questions for them. So when was? Again, options for multiple choice, different things there for us to play with, and I can put my answer in there. I can play around. Now, once I've put the options in there, I go to answer key and I click which one is the correct answer for them, and then done. I'm going to save this one as quiz practice. And there we go. I'm just going to close it straight down. I'll go back to my setting an assignment. And the good thing is, because I've created it on a separate file, it will always be in my Google Drive, and I can just assign that for them. Now, I think there was a question that kind of linked to this, the reason why I was doing this. So I just want to quickly look at that one there. Someone's put here, my class is submitting work on the stream. What's the best way to avoid this? Set tasks as assignments. Yes, definitely. or any task like that. There's a benefit if you set the task as an assignment. I'll show you this now. So I'll just assign this quiz. When I set it as an assignment, in my class drive folder, it will automatically create folders for where the work is saved, so the work that is submitted. So in my classroom, it's automatically puts the work in folders, which means it's already neatly stored for me. So if a student has submitted work, I'll always have it there available. So get them to any work or anything they do, set it as an assignment, and then share it that way. How do students hand in the quiz? Great question. We've got another one there. For checkbox questions, can you have a point per correct answer? Yes, you can. Let's look at the quiz. Now, a few things to do with the quiz. When we set it up, once they've made the quiz, so let's pick one I've already done. There we go. The best thing to do is actually put in at the top here, what's your name? Or you can get them to give their email address and then set it as required. Actually, if you want, they can get a point for getting their name correct. There we go. Just a point for doing it. So, you know, more than likely we can gamify getting your name correct, and they'll pass it. So that's the best way to do it, because once they've responded, it automatically, I'll show you on the responses, it puts it into a spreadsheet for you. So the tutor can go to spreadsheet, which is under responses, and you'll have the timestamp, the score, as well as what's your name answered correctly. Now, there was a question there, which was, I think it was, I'm just trying to remember, my memory's pretty poor today. In forms for checkbox questions, can you have a point per correct answer? Let's try that. That's the only way I can do it. So let's go multiple choice. Let's go checkbox. So how should I eat quiche? I don't know. So if we say hands, feet, so let's then go to answer key. And I say, they're the two correct answers, and hit done. So that then they get a point for each of those questions that they have answered correctly. So that should be quite nice for that. In quizzes, can you give them a set amount of time to answer each question? No, you can't, I don't think. Let's have a quick look. No, I don't think you can. I haven't seen it where you can give them a time. Are you just particularly harsh? Hurry up, get it done. No, there's no time on this one, unfortunately. So that is a bit of a shame. Any other questions at all on the quizzes? Oh, Meryl says you can give them the time. Meryl, how can you? I'd love to know that. I'm not sure. I've not heard of putting a time on it, but if you do know how to do that, please do shout at me. I've not done that one before. Any other questions with quizzes? Quite happy? Okay. That's kind of the run through for tonight on the key basic elements of the Google Classroom. Setting assignments, inviting students, sending back work. What I do intend to look through over the next few weeks with Beth and I, we're working on this at the moment, is we're looking at some different options. So we're going to do a session on quizzes, we're going to do a session on different collaboration tools, and we're going to do sessions on kind of individual thought shower works. So we got some different ideas that we're going to put up onto the Google Classroom for you, and Beth will talk about. Gemma's just asked a quick question. She said, how is the quiz submitted? At the bottom of the quiz, once they've done it, there's a little button that just says done. And they hit that, and as soon as they've hit done, it's submitted automatically. If you do have any questions, please put them in the box. I'm going to sit here now because the questions you're asking are teaching me a lot more. So if you do have any questions, please put them in and I'll be more than happy to answer them. If not, thank you so much for your work over the last 4 weeks. I will keep adding to the Google Classroom. And I hope you've learned and gathered some skills from these sessions during this time. And I hope to see you all soon. So thank you very much, guys. And I will see you all very soon. Thank you. The class code. Oh, yeah. I will put the class code up for the Wednesday gang. So the Wednesday gang, there's your code. Thank you, guys. There's the code for the Wednesday one. And I'm just going to sit here now and deal with the whingy dog. Hey. Oh, good work, Louise. How do you create a folder for things that have been set outside of Classroom? Ah, good. So, Satinder, if you want to create one that's outside your classroom, if we go to the main page, we go to the waffle, and we'll go to our drive. Steve can have a walk in a bit. So in our drive here, I actually have quite a number of things going on. So we've got this one here called Classroom. Is actually all of my Google Classrooms I have running at this time. And it automatically creates them in a separate folder. Now to create a new folder, all I would do is hit new, and that folder keeps it away from Google Classroom. So I've got some here, I do some work with school governors, I work with different companies, and actually separate folders in a way. So those, by creating it outside of it, going directly through Drive, through the waffle, you'll get straight in and you'll be able to create a folder there. So hopefully that's helped, but good question, Satinder, thank you. When children have been, ooh. Hey, Steve. When children have been set work on a PDF and they open it, will Google Docs, then the images are lost as they can't edit the PDF. I've created a slide and set the PDF as the background today and add text wasn't. Yeah, the best way to do it, if you want to add a PDF, is to turn it into an image first and then put that and add on top. Don't add it as a PDF and allow them to add on top. It's a nightmare. You're mixing two different things there. So if you're going to have it as a PDF and they add on top, either use the snipping tool, which is on all Word computers. And I think there's a snipping tool. I can't remember what it's called on Macs. But that'll be the best way to do it. So use snipping tool, cut the picture, and then paste that in for them to then add on top, especially within Google Docs. When my students have submitted a quiz, it doesn't show up in the marks tab that they have done the task. It won't do that way. That's why I always put my quizzes as unmarked. And then what I do is I download the sheets and I can manually add it in myself. With the checkbox option on forms, I'm going to have a look at that one, Lindsay, if that's okay, and I'll get back to you. I will look at the reason with the quiz, and I will come back and we'll get some answers on that one. Because I'll just have to. What I'll do is I'll run that with a couple of different fake students and put it in. Thank you. Yes, you can cut and paste assignments from the original folder to put into the new folder. You can move them as much as you want, so that's absolutely fine.
Yeah, sure.
Hi, Helen. Yeah, we'll be adding the video, definitely. Oh, actually, I'll add it now.